Alex. Let's go ahead and get started, please.
Okay, it looks like everyone is ready, so we will go ahead and start. Welcome to Making Commuter Benefits Work for Employees and Organizations. I'm Alexandria Gardner with the Piedmont Authority for Regional Transportation, and on behalf of PART, I would like to thank everyone for attending today. The focus of the webinar today will be in covering options in transportation demand management, commuter tax benefits, and best workplaces for commuters. Our presenters will go over both how to implement these and how they benefit everyone involved with an organization. To quickly go over the agenda, from PART speaking on TDM and best workplaces for commuters, we have Chantel Wesley, TDM Manager. Speaking on commuter benefits, we have Carrie Francis from TranBen. And speaking more about best workplaces for commuters and a success story from UNCG, we have Suzanne Williams. And to give a brief overview of these organizations who are participating today, we have the Piedmont Authority for Regional Transportation, which is an agency providing regional transportation through bus service as well as promoting forms of alternative transportation in the community and through organizations. Through regional cooperation, PART also plays an important part in planning for the future of transit and sustainability in our region. PART is available to assist HR professionals in commuter assessments, planning, employee information events, and implementation of benefits including employee van pool formation and leasing. Best Workplaces for Commuters is a membership program created by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and currently managed by the National Center for Transit Research at the University of South Florida. The BWC program offers planning tools and resources for companies who plan to offer commuter benefits, as well as awarding national recognition to those companies meeting the standards set by the EPA. TranBen is a nationwide fee-free transit voucher providing tax-free transportation benefit consulting and administrative services. This organization acts as a one-stop service for implementing pre-tax benefits through a guaranteed check payment system towards any form of public transportation or transit service and 7-day-per-week customer service and support. The University of North Carolina at Greensboro has grown to provide multiple forms of sustainable transportation to both their students and staff, including bicycle rental and discounts, the heat bus, PART bus routes, GTA city bus routes, and much more. After adding these services and more, UNCG has earned the Best Workplaces for Commuters designation, so they will be speaking about that. And now I will turn it over to Chantel Wesley, who will get us started with the presentation.
Thank you so much, Alexandria. And thank you, everybody, for participating today. As mentioned, my name is Chantel Wesley. I'm the Transportation Demand Manager with PART. And today I'm going to give you an overview of all the transportation demand management resources that are available to the employers of the Piedmont Triad region. Just to give an overview, we're first going to cover what TDM is and who we serve here at PART. I'm going to tell you a little bit about our program goals and performance, as well as the benefits to both employers and employees. We're going to cover some of the TDM program tools that you may or may not be aware of, and then we'll conclude with some employer testimonials of other companies that we've worked with. So what is TDM? Well, a Transportation Demand Management Program, or TDM program, really is aimed towards reducing vehicle miles traveled by promoting the use of alternatives to the single occupancy vehicle. So in a nutshell, we're trying to get people out of the mindset of driving alone every place that they go to, whether that's work, to school, to leisure activities, on to thinking about some options. And what are those options? Things like teleworking or working from home. Trip chaining, so instead of making one stop, maybe you're going to the grocery store, you're picking up the kids, and then you're headed home from work. Walking and bicycling, carpooling and vanpooling, a compressed work week, such as a 4-day, 4 10-hour days, as well as riding mass transit or the bus. Who do we currently serve? Well, PART, we're proud to say that we have the ability to serve both individuals and companies. We can provide service to individuals who live or work within our service area, as well as companies who are within our service area. That service area is made up of 10 counties. You can see those on the screen. And we like to say that we're one region without borders, everyone working collectively together to get people where they want to go. We're also proud to say that across the state, PART covers 10% of our entire area of the state of North Carolina. So a ton of service and plenty of different options that we'll go into in just a moment. So why do we have a TDM program? Why is it important? What are our goals, and what has our performance been thus far? Well, the overall goal is to reduce the vehicle miles of travel. That speaks directly to getting vehicles off of our highway, which clears up congestion, it makes our roads and streets safer, it gets employees to work on time, and that's what we're looking to do. You can see our performance over the past 3 years, and we're proud to say that every year we are exceeding our goals. And you can see the picture there. We were recognized by the North Carolina Department of Transportation Secretary, Mr. Gene Conti, along with Mr. Jim Westmoreland, for helping the state achieve a 25% reduction in the projected growth of commuter vehicle miles traveled. So again, we're looking to get vehicles off the road by encouraging folks to share the ride. So as an employer, why should I care about this? What are the benefits in it for me and for my company? Well, I think a lot of the ones you'll see up there you may have already thought about, but I'll touch on a few of those for you. How about an expanded labor market? Let's say you're a company in Greensboro, and typically, you would recruit within the Greensboro area, maybe High Point or Winston-Salem. Now that you know that there is a Piedmont Authority for Regional Transportation that provides both bus and van pool service, you may expand that market. Now you can reach out to a Surry County or a Randolph County, down to Alamance County. So it really allows you to expand your labor market. Also, studies have shown that by providing benefits such as commuter benefits, it definitely increases employee morale, allowing people to put monies elsewhere, whether that be vacations or education, into their homes. Providing these types of benefits help to increase employee morale, as well as the other benefits that you see there. The best workplaces for commuters list is one of the key ones, and we're going to get to that in a moment. The other thing that I would also point out, which I know is a concern for most employers, is the time commitment as you engage in any other activities. Most of us, we're trying to do the best we can on limited resources, including people, and we're proud to say that our TDM staff is able to come on site to help you customize a commuter benefits program with little to no time commitment on your behalf. So how do these benefits extend to the employees? Savings on gas, of course, wear and tear on the personal vehicles, as well as providing complimentary bus passes. We have a new hire bus pass program where we provide complimentary bus passes for new hires to your company. So an array of cost benefits, environmental benefits, so it's really a win-win for everybody involved. So let's look at some of the TDM program tools. We've broken these tools out into mobility tools as well as planning tools. Mobility tools: van pooling, walking, cycling, mass transit, carpooling, our emergency ride home, and our park and ride lots. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on many of these in just a moment, but you can clearly see that there is an array of opportunities and resources that PART currently provides. And when we don't have a tangible service, we're able to provide resources to get you the information that you need. The next slide shows our planning tools, everything from commuter survey development, where you're able to assess the needs of your employees, to providing management resources for a teleworking program, to our regional air quality partnership with Triad Air Awareness. So you name it, we pretty much have you covered. So let's go into our most visible mobility source that is out there on the roads today. That's those beautiful big black and red buses that you see that connect folks city to city across our 10-county area. We currently have 11 routes, and you can see those routes listed out serving Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point, Surrey County, Davidson, Randolph County, Yadkin County, Davie County, as well as with our PART connections that go down to UNC and Duke Medical Centers, and with shuttles that will take you to the Amtrak station located in High Point, as well as with coverage to the Piedmont Triad Airport. So how much does it cost to ride that big black and red bus that we talked about? Right now, our one-way fare, and this is effective July 1st, is $2.40 one way, and that excludes that connections route that we talked about. That fare is a little bit more scaled because it's a longer trip, and you can reference that information on our website. Again, that's the one that goes down to the Chapel Hill area. Our monthly pass, a lot of people do this and they realize savings. They buy a 31-day pass, which is $74.50, which is, if you do the math, it's definitely a savings compared to paying one way each time. And then our fares are half price for students, seniors, and disabled. And you can purchase our passes online as well as at our PART hub and at various employers. And I will give a plug for the employers that if you're interested in providing passes to your employees, please contact us and we can get that set up for you. In addition to our buses, of course, we provide park and ride lots. We currently have 27 lots in and around our service area. The lots are free for the public. They're available to bus riders as well as carpoolers and van poolers. The lots are outfitted with amenities such as bicycle racks and shelters, so ample space for folks to park and share the ride. The other features that I will point out about our buses is that our buses have free transfers from one PART bus to the next. Our buses are also bicycle friendly, so you can bring your bike and then ride the bus the other part of the way. They're wheelchair accessible, they're equipped with surveillance cameras, and they offer a kneeling feature, which is a pretty good safety feature where the bus will drop down to allow individuals to board safely without really having to step up onto the bus. Our Buddy Ride program. One of the things that we're very proud of and we like to brag about here at PART is our ability to listen to our customers and assess their needs, taking their feedback and really to implement what they told us. So what we've done, effective 2006, is we've implemented our travel training, our Buddy Ride program. Again, it came from concerns that we heard of people who said, look, I love to get on your buses. I've heard great things about them, but I just wouldn't know what to do once I get on them. You know, where does it take me? How do I signal for the bus to stop? Do I pay in cash? Do I need a pass? All those sorts of questions that people have. So our answer, again, has been our Buddy Ride program. And basically, we have a dedicated staff resource who will accompany the rider to answer questions about routes and schedules. And best of all, this is what I love to say, it's free, which is what we love. I know I love it as a consumer. It's free. And what we found is that the program is performing very, very well. Once people are introduced to the bus for the first time through the Buddy Ride program, they continue to ride. You can see our proven new commuter rate based on a recent survey, as well as our part-time resource. He averages about 20 rides per month. So again, a very good program. In addition to bus service, we also offer other ride-sharing resources because, to be quite frank, the bus is never going to meet the needs of everyone, whether that be location, whether that be timing, especially for employers that have shift work. We offer, to meet that need, both carpool matching as well as van pool leasing. We utilize the free statewide database called Share the Ride NC. You can see the website there. And basically what it is very user-friendly. You put in information about your commute, and it's immediately going to shoot back to you other registered commuters who have a similar trip that you have. And again, it's for the purpose of carpooling, as well as you can find van pools and bus routes on this software as well. In addition, PART leases 7 and 15 passenger vans, newer model vans. You can see a picture of the 15 passenger there, to groups of commuters who travel 10 or more miles each way. Let's talk a little bit more about the van pool program. It's really easy to get started. Again, since we lease minivans, we're looking for at least 6 people in which to get a van pool started. Groups either come to us already formed, or they'll come to us and say, look, I have a few people, can you help me get some other folks? And that's not a problem. We utilize the Share the Ride NC database that we talked about, or we'll work with the employer. A lot of employers are willing to send out company emails or post a van pool opening on an intranet site, as well as we'll use our regular PART website to advertise openings for van pools. So once we get the individuals, we will sit down with that group and select drivers. We say drivers because we're looking for at least a primary driver and a backup driver. Per insurance regulations, we want individuals to be at least 25 years of age, possess a valid North Carolina Class C driver's license, have no more than 3 points on their driving record, and no DWI convictions, and that's for obvious reasons. You're going to go ahead and pay a security deposit similar to what you would pay as you're renting a vehicle from the airport or any other vehicle, and that's just going to give us a little bit of security that you're going to be returning the vehicle in the way that it was given to you. That security deposit is $300. It's typically split up amongst all the van pool passengers. The driver actually signs a van pool lease agreement with PART. By no means this is a long-term lease agreement. It runs month to month, and we just ask that 30 days notice is given prior to lease termination. PART is going to work with you to design your van pool route and pickup locations, and we do that because we want to make sure it's the most efficient route possible, and that's because we determine the fare based on the mileage, the contractual mileage that's set up before the vehicle hits the road. After that, drivers are going to complete a training. We have a regional rideshare coordinators who will accompany you for training out on the road, make sure you're comfortable with the vehicle. And that training also includes a video and some other training as well. And then the van pool group is going to sign a driver-rider agreement. This includes all the other stuff that's not in the contract. And it can include things that are specific to the group. Things like ensuring that you're at your park and ride lot or meeting destination, 5 to 10 minutes early. We're going to make sure that we're not smoking in the vehicle and that we're going to be committed to making sure that we're on time. So all those sorts of things can go in the driver-rider agreement. So what does a van pool fare look like? How much does it cost? I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that most individuals will spend on gas alone in a given week to 2 weeks what they would spend in a whole month in riding in a van. So think about that for a moment. Even for yourself, when you could pocket that other 2 to 3 weeks out of a month of gas money to use for your own personal benefit, as well as the maintenance that you would spend from driving that vehicle, that is just huge. So again, the fare is going to be based on the number of people that are in the vehicle, the type of vehicle, whether it's a 7-passenger or 15-passenger, and the round-trip mileage. The fare is all-inclusive. It includes fuel. We'll give you a fuel card, insurance. We pick up the vehicle for maintenance and make sure you have a backup vehicle while we're maintaining it. It covers the mileage on the vehicle and a guaranteed emergency ride home, and we'll talk about that program in a minute. I gave you an example of a van pool that we have at GMAC that travels about 74 round-trip miles daily. In a 15-passenger van, each person spends about $82 per month. So let's go back to the Guaranteed Emergency Ride Home program. What is that? Well, that is something that we offer to our entire region to individuals who use some type of ride share to get to and from work. So this isn't just buses, and it's just not the PART bus. It encompasses van poolers, it's car poolers, it's individuals who bike or walk to work. So you use one of these resources in which to get to work. You get to work, an emergency comes up, and you need to get home before your ride share partners have to leave for the day. You would give us a call, and we're going to send out a taxi cab free of charge to you to get you back to where you need to be. If that's not peace of mind, I don't know what else is. The other thing that I'll tell you and that we really love to brag about is that we've made this program so simplistic. And I'm not knocking any other programs, but there are many other programs that require pre-registration. There's a limit on the number of times you can use it. We found that for just keeping things simple, that we're able to service our customers. There's no abuse of the program, and it really gives people peace of mind. And as an employer, imagine if you can use that as an incentive for your employees. I think that that would just speak volumes. So in closing, let's talk about some employer testimonials. I think that it's important whenever you're assessing the value of a service is not only to listen to the service provider, but also to hear from some customers. And for us, that's important. Again, not just to say, okay, well, you know, an individual from American Express or Mr. Sears from Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center or Suzanne Williams with UNCG said X, Y, and Z about PART. That is important, but the even greater importance is the value of coordination. We believe in strong partnerships and building partnerships. Through that, that's a win-win for everybody, the employer, for us, as well as for a region. So I believe that we're going to spend some time at the end of the presentations answering questions. So at this time, I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to Carrie Francis with TranBen.
Thanks, Chantal. Again, my name is Carrie Francis, and I work with TranBen. And what we do is we provide the transportation fringe benefit vouchers that employers can give to their employees to use towards public transportation. So I'm going to get into that and explain. A lot of people don't even know about this. Real quick, who are we? We provide fee-free vouchers. There are other companies out there that do provide vouchers, and they do charge either 4% or a dollar amount per employee, and we are accepted in all 50 states. We'll work with companies whether there are 2 employees or with the federal government, who we serve several 100,000 employees, so we kind of cover everything. Now, I'm not sure how many people have heard about what the Qualified Transportation Fringe Benefit is, and that's the technical term from the IRS. Sometimes you'll hear it called the QTF, but there are pretty much 4 ways it can be used, and again, this is tax-free, pre-tax dollars to be used for this, and can be used for transit pass, fare media, which is bus pass, train pass, trolley pass, van pools. Also, there is a qualified parking benefit, and there's a qualified bicycle commuting expense. So basically, employees can have pre-tax dollars to be used towards any of these types of transportation, which can actually save an employee over $9,000 a year. It's up to $230 a month, and we'll get into that, but that the IRS allows. So again, what is it? Technically, it's IRS Tax Code Section 132F. I am going to simplify all of the tax verbiage because even my eyes cross trying to read it. The IRS allows up to $230 pre-tax per month to be used towards public transportation. And you'll hear of this as commuter benefits, transit benefits, transportation fringe benefits, commuting benefits. There are about 87 different terms that different employers use when they explain this to their employees. And again, this is something, as Chantal was talking about, what they provide, that it's a win-win. This is a win-win, and we'll get into that, but I just wanted to throw that in there. But the transportation fringe benefit can only be used towards transportation purchases and expenses. It's not a cash benefit, so employees can't receive this as a benefit from their employer and then just go and cash it at the bank. Can't be used for gas and tolls. Again, no cash to be returned to the employee, so they can't tell you that their commuter expenses are $230 and go and buy a $5 or let's say a $2.40 one-ride fare. And reimbursements are non-compliant, so that means that the employee can't go and turn in their expense sheet and be reimbursed via the voucher system. And again, these are all the IRS rules. It's across the board. Here's how it's a win-win, is that everybody wins. The employee can save money, the employer can save money, and even if they do employee-employer costs shared, they'll save money, be it in tax expenses, employers save money on tax expenses, income expenses, so it really works out well for everybody involved with any of the three ways in which it can be implemented. So employee paid, this is when an employee opts to have money taken out of their paycheck pre-tax, similar to medical, when they have medical taken out pre-tax. That then they save money because their income tax is lower because their income is lower. And it can be used directly towards the cost of transit, van pool costs, and parking and bicycling. And the employees won't have to pay federal, state, or FICA taxes on the money taken out. So that's how it's an incentive for them if the employer doesn't want to provide this as just a benefit. For the employer paid, this is when it's given as an incentive, and some employers will just give every employee $50 to be used to help subsidize their transit costs. Others will actually ask each individual employee how much does it cost, and they'll provide it. So the employers save money on payroll taxes when they offer this, as well as local and state. And it's something that we always tell employers, double check with your local tax rules because they differ. So we don't want to give any erroneous information if one county is different from the other county. And then the third way is when it's shared. And this is when an employer says, we're going to give everybody $50 a month because it's just easier than trying to figure out the individual employee's costs. And then the employee says, well, if it costs me $74.50, I'm going to have the $24.50 taken out of my paycheck pre-tax. So again, it's still a win-win that, you know, it really is saving a lot of money for both the employer and the employees. Easy way that this is administered, there are several different service providers out there. Not only us, there's also Commuter, Check, WageWorks, as well as many transit authorities offer this. And it really depends on what's right for the employer. And you know, what's easy, what's your time frame. And then it's establishing just a company point of contact that the employees, when they have questions, usually it's somebody in HR, they go and ask the questions. And the internal rules for the program, and this differs, and this is customized by employer. Do you need a 30-day in or out or a 90-day in or out for employees to say they need to get out of the program or they want to sign up for the program? And that really depends on the employer. And then just educate your employees about how it works. So again, I just went through the options. There are fee-based providers like Commuter, Check, and WageWorks, and they provide more admin of the program, which involves sending the vouchers directly to the individual employees, so then they need to have the employees' home addresses, social security numbers. Then there are the fee-free programs, which that's what TranBen is, and it's self-administered. So the point of contact at the company would send us an order, and we send it back, the bulk order, and they distribute it to their employees. So we don't hold any personal information. And then transit authorities, that some of them are fee-free and some of them do charge a fee. And sometimes that's the best option because companies can actually just get the transit pass directly and hand it out to the employees. So the consideration for the employer is how much is it going to cost me? What type of customer service do I need? Do I need it just 9 to 5 during the week? Do I need it 7 days a week, 20 hours a day? And the order turnaround time. Some places it could take 4 to 6 weeks to get this set up. And with TranBen, for example, if you placed an order today, you would have it in 2 days. We don't like red tape. We don't like making anybody wait, and we don't like waiting just for the sake of making you wait. So again, we have customer service 7 days a week. We have no admin fees. The only fee that we ever charge is $15 for shipping because we overnight it or 2-day air it. And I recommend to companies order 3 months at a time because our vouchers are valid for 15 months. So you end up saving a couple $100 a year in shipping. Again, we are accepted nationwide by, actually now we're close to 1,000 transit providers, not including van pools, Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, accepted anywhere. So if you have employees that are kind of transient, they get transferred around the country, they can take this voucher anywhere and it will be accepted. And we offer vouchers in any denomination, so $74.50, $82 for a van pool, anything. We've even sent vouchers out for $1.47. And again, the company retains control of all of the personal information, so there's no chance that there's going to be any loss or breach of that. So that's a huge benefit. We don't require any contracts. It's month to month. You can change the amount every time you order. We don't make you sign up for 6 months and guarantee that you're going to spend $5,000 with us. So that's a nice option for employers. And just a couple quick questions that we get, and again, we'll be doing the question answer at the end, is employees ask, where can I redeem the benefit? The voucher can be redeemed at any retailer where there's an actual person selling the pass. It can't be, it doesn't work in the machine, and the employees can't get onto the bus and give it to the driver. But any other retailer accepts these vouchers. And if the monthly bus pass or train pass is more than the Fringe benefit, then no changes to be returned, and basically, or if it's more than the Fringe benefit, the employee has to take money out of their pocket and just cover the distance. And if it's less than, if the pass is less than the monthly benefit, what they need to do is speak with their point of contact and say, you know, this is the wrong amount. You need to give me less because no changes to be returned. So whoever the transit service provider is gets to keep the change. As I said earlier, employers can enroll employees at, it's up to them, whether it's monthly, quarterly, annually. Most employers do it quarterly with the caveat there could be an emergency that it's got to be monthly. But on our end, we can fulfill anything. And again, we don't charge any fees. Quick thing that I did, I think, skim over with the bicycle and the van pool passes. These vouchers are redeemable for van pools, and what the van pool provider would do is collect the vouchers from the riders and then turn them into whoever they're renting the van from. Or it's up to, you know, the van renter how they want to do it. And with the bicycle pass, that's a little niche-y thing that it cannot be used in conjunction with the riding pass or the parking pass. And the bicycle pass is $20 a month, and it can be saved up for the year and then all used at once for bicycle costs. And the parking pass is also up to $230 a month that can be used for the parking at the bus station or the train station, or if there's a park and ride where you park for your van pool, and that can be used in conjunction with the other, with the van pool transit pass. So again, it's a little bit confusing, and I can answer any questions that people have at the end, but those are kind of the major questions that people ask, and then there's my contact information that you'll get provided. And now I'm going to turn it back to Chantel.
Thank you so much, Carrie. That was great information. I certainly learned a lot myself. Now we're going to transition over to the Best Workplaces for Commuters program, which I'm very, very excited about, also known as BWC. And our hope is that by the end of this presentation, you too will decide to join the list. So what is the Best Workplaces for Commuters list? It's a national standard of excellence. National is the word we like to put out there, recognizing leading organizations for offering outstanding commuter benefits to their employees. So it's really good because you have a lot of great companies out there that are currently doing things to help their employees get to and from work. So now these companies can get recognized. And then the other piece is as an incentive to maybe a company who hasn't thought about it in the past and just thinking about some other ways to really retain and attract employees. So now they have recognition through the Best Workplaces for Commuters list. So who is on the list? I will tell you that to be on the list is to be amongst the elite. You can see our Piedmont Triad area, employers, UNCG, and Precor, as well as great employers across the state of North Carolina, and great employers throughout the world, Google and Microsoft and IBM. So again, these are companies who have really taken ownership of the fact that, hey, we understand that there's a lot of expense in driving to and from work, and what a better way to offer outstanding benefit than to join the Best Workplaces for Commuters list. So let's talk about the history of the Best Workplaces for Commuters program. As with any program, there's definitely been a progression. You can see starting back in 1999, the federal government launched what was called the Commuter Choice Initiative. And what it was a series of programs geared towards providing employers with resources. Employers who wanted to provide commuter benefits to their employees. So it was recognizing, yeah, there's an open market here, and we need to take a stance on giving employers some assistance. So then we skip forward to 2002, and from that original initiative came the Best Workplaces for Commuters. It was unveiled by the U.S. EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, and the U.S. Department of Transportation. The new program built upon the 1999 initiative not only by providing resources, but providing national employer recognition as well. And then in 2007, you can see where the National Center for Transit Research at the Center for Urban Transportation Research assumed Best Workplaces for Commuters management. So how do you qualify? There's a few simple steps. Again, many employers may already be providing these benefits, so you're well on your way. The first is to provide one primary commuter benefit. I like to keep the number 30 in mind because 30 is really the threshold with a couple of these. But the first is that 30% of employees are participating in a pre-tax purchase of a monthly transit or van pool pass. That speaks directly to what Carrie just spoke about. Again, just offering the ability for your employees to set aside pre-tax dollars, and at least 30% of those employees participating. The second is that the employer would pay $30 per month towards transit or van pool passes. And then the third is a $30 parking cash out. That means that you're basically incenting folks on leaving their vehicles at home, and in lieu of driving, if they're coming in through a ride-share agreement, the employer would pay the employee $30 for leaving their vehicles. The other is offering a telework or compressed work week program. We talked about what those were a little bit earlier in the TDM program presentation. And you're looking for those programs to reduce commuter trips by 6%. And then there's some leeway there if there's an equivalent benefit that you're offering, maybe not one of these, but there's something that you feel as though is pretty comparable. The Best Workplaces for Commuters Administration is open to that. So after you provide the one primary commuter benefit, you move on to step 2, which is to provide access to at least 3 secondary commuter benefits. While I did not list all the secondary benefits, I did list those that I feel like are really those that PART can help you to easily implement. In fact, PART can take on this for you, and you can get credit as one of your secondary benefits. So shuttles from transit stations. You heard before that PART offers shuttles in and around the Piedmont Triad Airport area, as well as to and from the Amtrak station. Rideshare matching, again, we offer administration and access to sharetheride.nc.org. Preferred or reduced cost parking for carpools or van pools. If you don't have a parking cost at your facility, that's fine. You can offer preferential parking. Perhaps the van poolers or carpoolers park closer to the building. Participation in the Regional Air Quality Partnership. Again, PART could cover this for you through our partnership with Triad Air Awareness. We can ensure that you have the air quality information that's needed. Employee incentives, so other incentives to your employees, whether that's early outs, we talked about preferential parking, maybe there's some vacation days, you name it. I think you can be creative as it relates to that. Maybe you create a points program, but some type of incentives for your employees. A bike share program where your employees get to work, but then you have a campus environment, or there's other facilities where you could bike between. And I know that UNCG does this, and Suzanne will talk about this a little bit later, but offering a bike share program is another way to meet your secondary benefit. On-site amenities, things like showers, a cafeteria, a bank, things like that, where people during their lunch break, they may normally skip out just to go and take care of some of these things. Now they would not have to because they have these amenities available on site. And then healthy initiatives to promote things like biking and walking. And again, we have that covered here for you at PART through our Try a Commute Challenge, which is our 3-month push to try to get folks out and about trying some of these alternatives, as well as our Commuter Dash event. It's our 5K walk-run event that we do every year, where we encourage employers to participate and have teams participate in that event. So a number of different things that you can do to meet that secondary commuter benefit. The third step is to provide access to PART's free guaranteed emergency ride home program. That's easy. All you're doing is just communicating that to your employees, communicating the availability, because as you recall, there's no registration, nothing like that, so it's really simple. So as long as you're providing the employees with the information, making them aware that they have access to the program, you've met that qualification. The fourth step is to complete the online or paper application. We have a link on our website, as well as you can see the Best Workplaces for Commuters.org website. And again, PART, let us be your resource to help facilitate this process, which really is, they've simplified it, so it's really a simple one. And then the fifth step is to pay the annual membership dues of $230 per year. Again, that helps towards the administration of the program, and work towards a goal of 14% or more of your employees not driving alone to work, which at the end of the day, that's the goal anyway. So what are the benefits of wanting to do this? Wanting to join this list of elite companies, there's a number of different benefits. One on the employee side, on the employer side, as well as on the employee side. When I just think from a personal perspective, when I'm looking about a prospective employer and considering where I want to work, because whether you realize it or not, most of us spend more of our waking hours at work than we do with our own families. One of the things that I look at is the benefits, not just things like salary and health benefits, which are the given, but those extra things. To know that a company is recognized as the best workplaces for commuters tells me that they really care about their employees and getting them to and from work. So providing this and being recognized really will help you to attract and retain employees. It also produces the environmental impact. We haven't spent much time talking about that, but in North Carolina alone, and really across the country, mobile sources are the primary cause of vehicle emissions and pollutants in our air. So really to get vehicles off the road and to let that be your emphasis speaks to your environmental mindset. As far as the benefits from BWC, you get your national public recognition. You'd receive a plaque and website exposure, a social media announcement. You can use the BWC logo on your own website. There's the BWC Race to Excellence program where you can compete against other BWC folks. There are web-based conferences, tools and training materials, research and benchmark resources. How many times have you started a project and you had to start from scratch? You know, just to know that there's other networking opportunities, other companies out there who have been there, done that, and to really learn from their best demonstrated practices is huge. So I really do encourage you, if you haven't already considered it, if you're not already offering commuter benefits, take the step to do it and be recognized for it. So please join the list. Consider joining the list, the best workplaces for commuters list. All right, and at this time, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Suzanne Williams with UNCG.
Thank you, Chantel. I appreciate that. Welcome, everyone. I've constructed my presentation around the concept of a 12-step intervention program because we at UNCG, when we began the process of looking at developing a transportation demand management plan, a TDM plan, we recognized that as a campus, we were a campus of parkaholics, folks that were just overly attached to our cars, and our students and employees alike needed an intervention. We as parking professionals needed an intervention, and our customers, our employees, and our students needed the intervention as well. So that's how the thought process that we used to begin that planning step. We have another intervention, another Parkaholics program designed specifically for individual drivers, but what I'm sharing with you today is really intended for employers and the planners that actually make the decisions to make your workplace or your campus a more commuter-friendly environment for your folks. The very first step is to assess your current conditions. Take a look at your standard operating procedures and your policies that are currently in place. How commuter-friendly are they? Do you have a policy which allows for a compressed work week or a telecommuting option? Conduct a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis. With your current conditions as they are today, what's good about it? What works? What do your commuters feel that there are benefits that already exist? What are the weaknesses? What are some elements that are lacking that you might want to develop? Are there any opportunities, perhaps programs that you haven't implemented that you'd like to give a try? Any threats, any changes in the condition that may impact your planning that you want to think about now? What data do you have that you can analyze to help you in your decision making? Can you geocode your drivers by zip code to determine where they're coming from? Can you identify travel patterns and peak demand times for parking and for transit? Look at the best practices in parking and transportation around you to develop some benchmarking targets. And also consider as many transportation demand strategies as you can to reduce the parking demand that you have at your facility and to redistribute the demand for multimodal transportation options. For example, if the vast majority of your employees are coming to work by driving alone in their vehicles, and you want to be able to take advantage of the benefits that Chantel explained come with the Best Workplace for Commuters designation, then look at all the different ways that folks can get to your work site other than just driving alone. Are there bike lanes near where you are? Are there bike routes that can be identified? Do you have a mechanism for carpooling? Those kinds of things. Step 2 is to simply believe that you can overcome the challenges that exist. For us at UNCG, when we began the planning process back in 2005, there were some folks that believed that the challenges were just insurmountable. We had the demand for parking far exceeded the available parking spaces that we had to offer. Managing parking permit sales was getting harder and harder every year, and we really had to step back from the daily grind of being in the weeds, being in the trenches, and look at it from a completely different angle. We gave ourselves a new way of being attitude adjustment. Every step along the way, we're aware of the challenges, we're aware of the negative, but we focus on the positive and we focus on where we want to be, what we want to achieve. We look beyond the constraints of the limited parking, and we've started systematically exploring all these multimodal options like bikes and buses and car sharing and ride sharing, van pools and walking, as well as the more, I guess, the more policy-driven changes like having a compressed work week option for some staff, and considering those other kinds of options that aren't necessarily transportation related. Step 3, we decided to take action and create our own TDM, our comprehensive multimodal transportation demand management plan. You hear a lot in planning about mission and vision, and most organizations already have a mission and vision in place, so you have that already. But from a transportation management perspective, we also developed a mantra that we could boil it down to just one word when we're trying to make decisions and shape policy. Our mantra that we go back to time and time again is access. Access, access, access. Like in real estate, it's location, location, location. For us, it's not about parking. It's about access. How can we get people to access campus, not necessarily relying on just parking alone? We also defined our core values as guiding principles to help us along the way. Sustainability, efficiency, effectiveness, consistency, and transparency are among those core values. Of course, in planning, you've got to set goals, you've got to have measurable objectives, and also be sure that in your plan you're including a blueprint for how you're going to implement your plan as well as how you're going to evaluate it so you can track your successes along the way. The next step in the process is inventory. Make an inventory of all of the available resources. So then you'll know what additional resources may be needed down the road. How many parking spaces do you have? Is it accurate? What kind of equipment, signage, communications resources do you have at your disposal? Get to know your staff. Know their strengths, their weaknesses, know their training needs, know their limits, know what is of interest to them. Do you have cyclists already coming to your workplace that could be advocates for cycling and help organize kind of a focus group of cycling buddies? Are there bike shops nearby that can help with training and or bike maintenance and repairs? What transit services are readily available near your work site? Are there PART buses? Are you near the Amtrak station downtown? Are you near bus stations? Are there people in your organization already carpooling or vanpooling? If so, how are they finding each other? Do you have a network that enables them to connect easily? If not, absolutely Share the Ride NC through PART is a great way to connect folks interested in sharing rides. What about car sharing? Here at UNCG, we brought Zipcar to campus recently, and that's helped for the folks who don't have their own car on campus but may occasionally need to borrow a car to run errands or go to meetings. Car sharing is another tool in the toolbox to consider. Step 5 is prioritizing. You have to develop your plan in a way to implement your changes systematically, and you need to prioritize your efforts based on the resources that are available, how easy or difficult it's going to be to implement, and budget. Some items are budget neutral, other items most definitely have budget implications, and you have to think that through. This is our timeline of how we prioritized and the successes that we've the milestones we've reached along the way. In 2006, that's when we published our first transportation master plan. And also that's the year HEAT, Higher Education Area Transit, was launched in cooperation with Greensboro Transit Authority and the local colleges and universities in Greensboro. In 2007, we launched a very, very basic campus carpool club. We didn't know anything about Share the Ride NC at the time, so we created our own little carpool club online registration. In 2008, we focused efforts on improving bicycle infrastructure, and that's also the year when we really got to know PART services better and really develop that relationship and broaden that networking ability. 2008 was a pivotal year from both the bicycle standpoint and also with PART, because that's the year that we learned about emergency ride home and van pooling and the other options that PART has that we really up to that point didn't know anything about. In 2010, just this past fall, that's when we upgraded our carpool club to something called ZimRide, which is again similar to Share the Ride NC, but with ZimRide, it's something that within a campus environment works for us because it also integrates with Facebook, and so it makes it a little easier for our students to tap into. We also brought Zipcar car sharing to campus, and in the middle of fall semester is when we learned that we were the first employer in the Triad region to receive the Best Workplace for Commuters designation, and we were just on cloud nine. We had worked on the application a couple of months prior and kind of had our fingers crossed, and fall semesters when we found out we had gotten the designation, and it made us feel so good that we were able to provide those services for our employees and for our students and know that we were recognized and that it made a difference. And then later when we found out there were additional benefits that we could tap into once we got that designation, there's a whole online resource library of additional materials that we could tap into that it was icing on the cake. This year in 2011, the spring, we have been concentrating mainly on bicycles, and we submitted an application to the League of American Bicyclists to let us know how we're doing, and lo and behold, we were the first university in the entire state of North Carolina to receive a bronze award for being a bicycle-friendly university. So we started from a very, very humble beginnings with rather low expectations, and you can see over a period of time how we've progressed. Step 6 along the way in the process is knowing your stakeholders. For us, our customers are our students. Our internal customers are our faculty, staff, and administrators. As employers, your employees are your primary concern at this point. But we have a broader reach. We're looking at our alumni, our parents, our visitors. We network with event planners and project managers for campus access strategies. For us, it's more than just the employee relationship or the employee commute experience. We're looking at how everyone gets to our campus. It's almost like running a little city in terms of access. We network with a variety of what we consider transportation demand management partners, including PART, GTA, HEAT, HighTran and HighPoint, WISTA, Winston-Salem Transit. We network with parking and transportation operations at other colleges and universities. We're networking with the League of American Bicyclists, local nonprofit BIG, Bicycling in Greensboro, several local bike shops, the National Center for Transit Research, which manages the Best Workplace for Commuters program, and a few others. So our list of stakeholders and the folks that we network with grows and grows each year. Step number 7 to any good 12-step group is making contact with your stakeholders and nurturing relationships. Different strategies work with different folks. Just to be able to reach our students and employees, we start usually with town hall style meetings where we can share information and also solicit input from them. We do smaller focus groups for special interest groups like individual departments, and also bicyclists as a group have certain concerns and issues they want to talk about. Carpoolers as a group, they have other issues, so we try to get them in a room together so that we can deal with them in a small group environment. We definitely use email communications, and social networking tools like Facebook and Twitter are also very effective for us, especially as we combine them with web-based content and a call to action. For us at UNCG, our website has information about a variety of campus access options, parking as well as biking, busing, carpooling, and so on. But we also have a very important call to action page where we solicit folks to commit that they're going to try some form of sustainable transportation. Even if they're not ready to give up their parking permit or give up their car, we want to get them to pledge to at least try something different. This is part of the Triad Commute Challenge. Our component is called the Campus Transportation Challenge, but it feeds right into PART's Triad Commute Challenge in a seamless way. This is just a quick screenshot of our website so that you can see on the left navigation menu here are the different information sources. You know, if you're a student, you can click on options specifically for you. Employees, options specifically for you. We delve into the sustainable information options, biking, busing, carpooling, Zipcar, emergency ride home links directly to PART. We have our own shuttle services internally to campus. We promote that we received the Bike Friendly Award, Bike Friendly University Award. We promote that we are a a best workplace for commuters. HR, our Human Resources Office, also does that, so it's a hiring tool. A direct link to the Transportation Challenge. And then the main area here, that's a screenshot of feeds to our Facebook and Twitter accounts, so that as we have alerts or messages that we want to get out to our constituents, we have a way to do that beyond just a dry email. All right, step 8 in the 12-step program is to admit to others the exact nature of your plan. As you're developing your plan, you need to communicate to educate. You need to participate in staff development seminars. Obviously, new employee orientation programs are a good way to share information. Department meetings, stakeholder gatherings. We do information fairs and other special events specifically to reach our employees and our students to let them know what we're doing. And if you do some type of a challenge event or some type of call to action event, if you can coordinate that with an existing event, that's a good strategy. Or it may be better in some circumstances to create your own launch event for that type of activity. Step 9, humility. Humbly vet your plan and ask for feedback with both your internal and your external constituents. For employers, I know you're mainly dealing with your employees. Here in a university setting, we have a kind of a broader outlook on it, but we encourage you truly in a humble way to truly listen to what your stakeholders are telling you and hear what they're saying to you with open minds. You may be excited about bicycling and think that's where you need to focus your resources, but you may have a key group of people in your environment that are more interested in carpooling or van pooling. So you need to know what resources you have and what resources folks are wanting so that you can make those connections. Engage your stakeholders and listen to them as much as, if not more than, you share information with them. Chances are you're going to gain some valuable insight from your employees, from your stakeholders. I know we certainly have, and it's helped shape our planning process. Which leads me to step 10. You're going to be continually assessing and updating your TDM plan. I know we do. As new information becomes available, as we get tips and hints and suggestions from others, we make improvements over time. When we developed our first TDM plan, we didn't know anything about PART's emergency ride home service. We didn't know anything about the League of American Bicyclists or the National Center for Transit Research's Best Workplace for Commuter designations. As we learn about these new resources, we incorporate these things into our plan, and it enhances our program for our organization as well as for individual employees and students. Step 11 is all about change. Seek to improve understanding and facilitate change through effective communication and marketing. Here at UNCG, our Bryan School of Business and Economics has drilled into me the 5 P's of marketing: people, product, price, place, distribution, and promotion. In a nutshell, know the people that you're trying to impact. Build relationships to understand what they value and what messages are going to resonate with them. For some, it's going to be about saving money. For some, it's going to be about saving time. Like, riding a bus instead of driving means that you have more time that you can nap, or you can catch up on paperwork, or you can just listen to to music you enjoy. Often with public transit, there's a cost savings as well. At our campus, it's most definitely cheaper to ride a bus into work than it is to pay for gas and maintenance of a vehicle and buy a parking permit. So for us, we can talk about saving money and time. Knowing what products you have available, like a bicycle program, buses, carpooling, car sharing, walking, safe routes, what costs are involved, that's how you're going to be able to reach folks, by knowing what you have and what's important to them and answering those questions. You need to know where your drivers are coming from, where the bus stops are, where the park and ride lots are. Use this knowledge to promote sustainable transportation effectively, and most definitely use social media like Facebook and Twitter, mass communications, emails, and obviously one-on-one personal contact is definitely an effective tool when you have the resources to employ it. We are now to our 12th and final step. The pinnacle of any good 12-step program is sharing. Practice the principles that we've discussed. Create your TDM plan and share your knowledge and experience with others. That's what I'm doing here today, is I'm sharing with you our experience and hoping that you will want to apply for Best Workplace for Commuter status and want to take these steps, these other steps that Chantel and Carrie and I have shared with you to enhance your organization for your employees, to enhance the profile of your organization within the triad and with the state and within the nation. I mean, it really is that broad of a reach. I hope that on a personal level that you will try some form of sustainable transportation for yourself, and that you'll then become an advocate and get your friends and colleagues to join you. And I hope that within your organization that you will be instrumental in creating a transportation demand management program, that you'll follow these 12 steps and that you'll share them, and that you will be an advocate for change. At this point, we will be opening it up for question and answer time, so I'm going to turn it back over to Alexandria with PART to facilitate.
Thanks, Suzanne. Okay, as Suzanne said, it's now time for our question and answer panel. This time, please use your chat box to type in any questions you may have for our presenters, and as they come in, I'll read them off for our panel. Okay, for Chantel, we have a question for PART. If a company wants to determine if their employees are interested in ride sharing, what is the best way to start to do that?
Thank you so much for the question. From personal experience, I think the best way to do that is to conduct a survey. I think surveys are useful regardless of what your environment is, whether that's production or whether it's administration. and PART can actually facilitate that for you. We have a survey tool, an online survey tool, as well as we can produce hard copy and paper surveys, basically just assessing the need, understanding what are people currently doing, what are they open to doing. Similar to what Suzanne said, is it conducive for them to want to change their behavior based on the amenities and the expectations that have been set by the employer. So I definitely think a survey, a commuter survey, is the best way to go, and again, we can be a resource, PART can be a resource of that for you.
Okay, for Suzanne at UNCG, we have a question here. Has the program been successful, and if so, how do you measure the success of it?
Good question. We measure our success by a variety of measures. One is parking permits sold, or demand for parking permits. And since we implemented our TDM plan, we've seen on average every year demand for parking permits has decreased 2-3% on average every year. Every year it's decreased, and that's the average amount. We also look at other indicators like transit ridership, for example, and PART bus passes sold. Since we've been selling PART bus passes on our campus, we've noticed every year over a 3-year period that we sell more and more permits every year. So we know more and more people are riding the buses. We can see more and more people at the bus stops queued up waiting to get on the bus. With heat has probably been one of our most successful ventures, and the data that we've gotten from heat, we are now we're entering our 6th year of heat higher education area transit bus service. During the first 5 years, we saw steady gains every year. Ridership increased significantly every year, and we thought by year 5 surely we would level off, because with admissions you get new students every year, and most folks graduate in 4 to 5 years, so we're thinking by year 5 we should be pretty stable. And from year 4 to year 5 with heat ridership, we actually increased a solid 60% gain. So yeah, we definitely have noticed a change and improvement, and those are the measures that we use.
Okay. Also, Suzanne, another question. What was the most difficult aspect of creating a TDM plan?
Well, initially it was just making the decision to do so and getting started. Within our campus environment, there were maybe 2 people at the time in 2005 that recognized that we really needed to do something different, that managing parking in the traditional way it had always been managed just wasn't sustainable, and it wasn't going to work for us long term. And those 2 people had to get buy-in from their bosses and from the university's administration, and that was that took some doing. We didn't know about PART services, so we started kind of from scratch. We brought in a consultant and really started from ground zero. I think were we doing it over again, we would most definitely partner with PART sooner, so that we could let you all share your expertise with us earlier in the process. That would have made it much, much easier. But just making the decision to do a plan, getting the institutional buy-in to do a plan, it has actually been that part of it was more challenging than implementing the plan. We have challenges with budget, certainly, but just getting started, finding that momentum to get started is really the first hurdle to overcome.
Okay. Carrie, we have a few questions about TranBen and about the vouchers. Can the vouchers be used for carpools?
No, and that is per the IRS. Not really sure how they figure that a van pool versus a carpool is different, but per the IRS, they will not allow the benefit to be used towards carpools at this point.
Okay. And as far as using the vouchers, can they be used for tolls?
No, and that's again an IRS rule. So what a lot of van pools do is they'll no pun intended, but pool all of the monies together when they pay for the rental and everything, and use, like, if they have a business account, or depending on how the van pool is run, set up a business account, then pay a check to the van pool renter, and also have a card that they can use for gas or tolls, which I can't necessarily recommend, but I just knew that people do that.
Okay. And luckily here in North Carolina, we do not have that issue as of right now with the tolls, so that's great. Chantel, question for PART here. Can a van pool make multiple stops along the way to work?
That's a great question. Yes, they can. And in fact, we have several van pool groups who opt to do that. The only thing that I would caution is just keep in mind that the van pool fare, or the lease amount, is based on the round trip mileage. So the more stops that are included, the more mileage that will entail. However, sometimes that's what's needed for a group. You know, there's one part of a group that starts out in one location. Along the way on their route to work, there's another group that wants to join, and it's just conducive for that group. So it really depends on each individual situation. Yes, you can make the stops, but just make sure that the stops are needed and warrant the fare amount.
Okay, and I believe that answers this next question as well. Does the Share the Ride site allow you to only ride with individuals from your work site?
No, it doesn't, limit you to. It does allow you to make that specification, yes. So an individual can ride with others, or just say, you know what, just give me matches from individuals at our work site. So there's a lot of flexibility there, as well as make other preferences. You only want to ride with people who are non-smokers or whatever the case may be. So there is some flexibility to make some preferences.
And I'll direct this next question both to Suzanne and Chantel, just to get both of your ideas on this. How would you convince people to try sustainable transportation instead of driving alone for the first time?
Suzanne, I can go first. I think Suzanne made an excellent point, and that is to be an advocate or a champion yourself. And I know we all have different schedules, different needs. Myself, I'm a mother of 4, 1 borrowed, but I love her to death, so I'm going to keep her. So that requires, drop-offs at child care and a number of different things. However, when I can do that and when it is feasible, I'll drop the kids and then ride the bus, or I'll call carpool or trip change. So I think you definitely have to be an advocate and a doer of what you're preaching. Again, it might not meet the needs of everybody every single day. That's okay. But at least you can talk from a personal perspective. Suzanne, would you agree or have any other thoughts?
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. And here at our campus, we have a core group of advocates. We have some bicycle enthusiasts, we have some carpool enthusiasts, we have some bus riders, some zip car drivers. We've got a variety of core advocates that can go out and kind of help us spread the word around campus. We also do an annual campaign that coincides with the Transportation Challenge that PART does, whereby we try to incentivize it. We try to get, for new students coming in or new employees, we go to new employee orientation programs, and we explain to them, having an advocate with us. I'm a carpool advocate myself because that's what I do, but I've also, I ride the buses regularly and I do bike occasionally. So we'll go in small groups, 2 or 3 of us at a time, and we'll share our personal experiences, and we'll try to incentivize it. We'll say, we're doing this challenge. If we can get you to sign a pledge that you're willing to just give it a try. You don't have to totally give up your car. You don't have to turn in your parking permit. We just want you to try something different at least once. And, you sign this pledge form. We'll follow up with you to make sure, see how everything went, make sure it was all good. But we'll give you today, as part of the PART Transportation Challenge, we'll give you a little bag. We'll give you a couple of PART bus passes to try it. we'll put your name in a drawing for bigger prizes, and that it kind of builds excitement. So, you know, we do events on campus, we do our pledge drive, and our core network of ride buddies and sustainable transportation advocates, all that combined to create an excitement and an energy around it.
Okay. Carrie, we have a question for TranBen here, and you had explained how the money is exchanged between the employer and TranBen. However, could you explain how the money is exchanged between TranBen and the transit or van pool provider? Carrie?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I had it on mute.
Question?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I forgot that I had put my phone back on mute. We would get a bulk order, and it could be for 10 vouchers, and the order form is on our website. Could be for 10 vouchers for $74.50, and maybe 20 vouchers for single ride for $2.40. And we would send that out, and we just ask to be paid net 30. And knock on wood, we haven't had a problem in doing it that way. We don't ask to be paid up front or anything like that. And then the employer would get the vouchers and then just distribute them to the employees. So when it's an employee paid program, often that's when it's a little bit longer on the employer end, that they say, okay, we're going to start this program in a month, so they can take the money out of the paycheck ahead of time and not have to front it, so to speak. Otherwise, it's really that simple.
Okay. So it sounds like it's on the employee end from there. What would happen if the employee lost the voucher?
If the employee loses the voucher, it's kind of like if they lose a $20 bill. We don't have a way to do a stop payment or to replace it. Now, there are times that I will say that we kind of bend our own rules a little bit, but on record, it's if they lose the voucher, it can't be replaced. Well, all we can do is check to see if it's been redeemed. But we try to help out whenever we can. It's just we make it the exception, not the rule.
Okay. And is that the same as far as having an expiration date on the voucher? If that voucher would expire?
If the voucher expires, we will replace that. The employee needs to give it back to their point of contact, and the point of contact would send it back into us, and we can then just swap it out, not a problem. And it has to come from the point of contact just so we can verify that it's a valid person sending it into us, not somebody that found, like when somebody loses the voucher and somebody else finds it. We want to verify that the right person is getting it. But we certainly, if the vouchers are returned to us from the point of contact at the employer, we will swap it out.
Okay. Chantel, a question for you regarding transit for the region. Are there plans to create a bus pass or regional pass that's accepted for all of the transit agencies in our region, something where someone could ride to UNCG from Winston-Salem, say, and be able to use the city bus, PART bus, perhaps even UNCG transportation without having to buy different passes every day?
That's a great question, and in fact we covered this in our recent summer newsletter. Yes, there is, and we're very, very excited about that. There is a regional fare value card that will be hitting the streets. We don't have a definitive date, but in the coming months, just keep your eyes and ears peeled. You can check our website, but essentially what it is it's a regional super pass that can be used on PART, Greensboro Transit Authority buses, HiTran and High Point, and then with the buses in Winston-Salem. So the individual could purchase the cards at $5, $10, and $20 denominations. They would present the card upon boarding the bus. The single ride fare would be deducted from the regional value card, and they would just continue to use it until the amount has been depleted. But again, just stay tuned to our website, partnc.org, and you can learn more information about that.
Okay, and again, for everyone, please feel free to contact any of the presenters whose information is at the bottom of the agenda that you should see on your screen. A copy of these presentations will also be sent out to all registrants. And I'd like to thank our presenters. Thank you to Chantel, Suzanne, and Carrie. Thank you to everyone who attended, and we hope that you find this information useful in beginning to implement these options within your own organizations. We also hope to hold more webinars and lunch and learn sessions addressing other TDM issues for the Triad area, so please look out for future invitations, and we hope you will join us then. Thank you to everybody.